Hello folks, welcome to this video. This is number 71 and this one is on solving equations, but this time through iteration. Now the key word here is iteration, and iteration is a trial. When you refer to something as being your first iteration, you're saying that's your first answer of your solution, and you improve upon that answer by using the answer that you got last time and substituting it back into your formula. If you do that once, that's your second iteration. Do it again, that's your third iteration, fourth iteration, fifth iteration, etc. Okay. Now, the key notations are very important here. You've got x with a subscript n, and you've got x with a subscript n plus 1. Now, this is what makes this subject pretty difficult to understand, I think, understanding these two bits of notation. But I will do my best to explain to you and hopefully make it easy for you to now get these questions right. But it's definitely a tricky topic on GCSE. So you may need to rearrange to make an x the subject. Not always. You might get given the formula straight away. All right, but you may need to rearrange it to make an x the subject. It could be the in this first question here, I've got x cubed, and it could be 2x. You've got either option there. Either one of those x's could be made the subject. And when you do that, you do get possibly convergence, and convergence is when you get an answer, so you narrow down to a specific answer. You could get convergence to a different solution, depends how many solutions there are, depends on the type of quadratic it is. If it's cubic, it could have 3 solutions. If it's quadratic, it could have 2 solutions, but not always. Yes, so you could also rearrange it and it could diverge away from the answer. So that might just give you a mathematical error in the end, or just an answer that doesn't close in on something. So it's a really tricky little topic, this one, but actually in essence it is just substitution. Okay, that's literally all it is, using your calculator as well. So the first step would be to make the x that is the subject x with a subscript n plus 1. That's the x that's on its own. That becomes this. All right, that's where we use this notation. And then we make any x's on the other side x with a subscript n. Okay, and that's where that notation gets used. We substitute the given value, the given initial value of x, so you'll be getting x with a subscript 0 or x with a subscript 1. And you substitute that into the x subscript n bit of your formula. Once you've done that, you keep substituting your answers back into that same x subscript n bit until you get your desired result to a given number of decimal places or significant figures. Depends what they ask you to round it to within the question. So we've got to, in question 1, show the equation x cubed plus 2x minus 5 equals 0 can be rearranged to give this formula. Okay, so this is just a case of knowing what x has been made the subject here. Now, the first thing that I notice is everything has been cube rooted. So it must be this first x that's been made the subject, the x cubed, because the last thing that we did to this on this side was cube root it. Okay, so the process would start by taking away this minus 5, which would be adding 5 to both sides. So I'm going to write that down first of all. I've got x cubed plus 2x is equal to, and then the 5 is going on the other side. Okay, then I'm going to take away the 2x. Okay, so I've got x cubed is equal to 5 minus 2x, which could be written the other way around, but in our formula we've been given it's written that way around. And then we cube root everything, so x is equal to the cube root of 5 minus 2x. It looks complicated to begin with, but actually we've done that in 3 steps, and there's our way of doing it. All right, that is it. There's nothing more to it than that. We've just shown that it can be rearranged to give that. Now that does confuse a lot of people, but hopefully I have ironed out those issues for you. All right, now we're going to carry on in question 2 with something very similar to this first question, because what's happened here, and I'll just highlight this, right, our given formula in question 1, right, we've now got x with a subscript n plus 1 there, where there was an x before. And then on this side of the equation, or formula, I should say, is x with a subscript n, okay, and that's replaced that x that's down there in question 1. Everything else is exactly the same. All right, now this means to get the next value of x, to get the next iteration of x, you just have to substitute your previous value of x in, or your given value of x in. to here. That's all it means. So we're given this time x subscript 1, the first value of x. Like I said, it could be a 0 equally here. We're given that that is 1. All right, we're going to put the value of 1 to find the solutions to the equation, this, that we rearranged to be that. Okay, and we've got to go to 3 significant figures. All right, so I'm going to write down, because the first value that we had there was x1, I'm going to write down that x2 is going to be something. All right, now that something is going to be the cube root of 5 minus 2 multiplied by this 1. Okay, and that's it. That's all I have to type into my calculator. That's going to give me my second value of x, my second iteration. All right, so I'm going to go with my calculator and I'm going to press shift. The square root button gives me this cube root function here. Then I'm going to go 5 minus 2, and then in brackets I'm going to put the 1, and then I'm going to get my answer there. That equals 1.4422. And you could show some trials here. You could show your third iteration is the cube root of 5 minus 2 multiplied by 1.4422. I'm just going to put answer, because that's the button that we're going to use on the calculator. And that goes then in where that is. So just pop back into the formula, delete the 1, put the answer in that was on the screen, press equals. Okay, and that gives me 1.28 something. Let's have a little look what that was. 837 ... Okay, and then we're just going to keep doing that. So x and then something is going to be, let's just find out what it will be. This will be our solution. All right, now all we've got to do is keep pressing the equals button. That's it. Now we will converge on an answer. That means the decimals will stop changing, so that all the numbers after the decimal point will stop changing after a while. So 1.33, 1.32, 1.3, and then keep going, and you're seeing, look, very slowly, and I've got the answer that I need now, but I'm just going to keep showing you. If you keep pressing the equals button, now all the numbers have stopped changing. All right, we can definitely round this off now. So to 3 significant figures, 1.33. That would be our answer. All right, and it could be 6 decimal places or whatever you need to round it off to. Just do it enough times to get your answer that you need. Okay. Right, move myself over and we'll have a look at question 3. Right, question 3 asks us to prove that 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3 equals 0 has a solution between 0 and 1. Well, this is all about the fact that if we substituted 0 into here, we would get something, and if we substituted 1 into here, we would get something. And it's all about the fact that the 2 solutions that we would get between these 2 values, or with these 2 values, is one would be negative, one would be positive. Okay, so our equation as it stands is equal to 0, so we will definitely get 1 positive and 1 negative. And the sign change is what we refer to as the sign change, is the thing that would prove it's got the solution between these 2 values. Okay, so that's not necessarily the method that I've written here, but it's just another little thing that you would need to know for iteration questions. All right, so we just get our calculator and we'll substitute in. I'll just move it over just a tad. All right, there we go. Now I can see all the buttons. So we're going to put in 3 multiplied by 0 cubed. And I like to put the thing I'm substituting in the calculator in brackets, just in case things are negative. All right, and I know it's not here, but it's still worthwhile doing it. So that's just going to give us 0. All of that's going to give us 0, and then we just put the minus 3 on there. So obviously our answer is going to be minus 3. Okay, so 3 multiplied by 0 cubed plus 4 multiplied by 0 squared minus 3 equals minus 3. Okay, so there's one thing. Let's do the other. Let's just pop back in and go, and this is another reason for putting it in brackets. We can just change the number that's in the brackets to the other thing that we need to change it to. And then we go 4. So 3, 1 cubed plus 4 bracket 1 squared minus 3 equals 4. Okay, so we can see that one's positive, one's negative. So 1 positive, 1 negative, therefore solution between 0 and 1. You'd have a bit more space to write that. Okay, but there we go. That would be a couple of marks in its own right, getting that bit. Now in B, you've got to show that you can rearrange this expression to this expression. All right, we're going to change it again. It's about, first of all, identifying which x has been made the subject. Now you could undo everything that's been done to this. All right, so the thing that happened last was it was square rooted, so it must be the x squared that was made the subject. Right, so if in your head you just go back through and you square both sides, that gives you x squared here. Then to get rid of the divided by 4, you'd have to multiply by 4, so that's 4x squared over this side. Then you add the 3x cubed back to this side, then you take away the 3. All right, so think about it in that order, and you're going to then be able to go back through it and get it done and rearranged the way you need to. So the first thing I would do is get rid of the minus 3. So I've got 3x cubed plus 4x squared equals a positive 3. And then I'm going to take away the 3x cubed. So that gives me 4x squared is equal to 3 minus 3x cubed. Then I'm going to divide by 4. So that's going to give me x squared is equal to 3 minus 3x cubed over 4. And then the last step, which I'll just draw a little arrow to, would be x is equal to what we got here, the square root of 3 minus 3x cubed over 4. Okay, and we've shown in 4 steps how we've gotten to what we needed to get to. All right, now in question C, we've got this time use the formula, so use this formula here, and the initial value of x, this time it's written as x subscript 0 again, but we've just got 1 as our value we're going to substitute in to find a solution to 6 decimal places. So our next value, instead of it being x2, it'll just be x1. It doesn't actually make any difference at all. X number 1 will be, and then we have to substitute into this. Now remember, that's x with the subscript n plus 1, right? That's that x that we've got on this side is the subscript n, all right? But it's literally just substituted into this. So we don't even need to write that out. We can get the calculator. We can, well, you could write it out. I haven't really got any room to. We get a calculator, we're going to press the square root button, then the fraction button, and then 3. In fact, what I'll do first is I'll just put 1 on the screen, because that's our initial value. Press equals, right? So now that is our answer. And I will show you that you can do this straight away, put the answer in. So minus 3, and then multiplied by answer, because that was the 1 that I had on the screen. And that's got to be cubed, hasn't it? And then press down, and that gives me 4. So just double checking I've done everything right there. 3, then substituted into that x space, the 1. That's all good. Square root of it all, fine. There's my first iteration, 0. So that's 0. And then x number 2 is equal to root 3 over 2, which we could put as our decimal 0.866, and dot 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 x3, just for another trial, just to show another one. All right, that's going to be equal to 0.512 6 dot dot dot, and then I'm just going to keep going because I haven't got enough room to put any more. And then it should just converge on an answer for us. You can see it's doing that between the 7s and the 6s now, and it's going to go 6970, and then we want 6 decimal places, so we just keep pressing it. See why I wasn't going to write all of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're there. There we go. Right, so that would be 0.7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0.7010 98. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 decimal places. All right. Sometimes it can be a bit awkward. Probably not going to be that awkward when you do a question in your GCSE exam paper. But there we go. That is iteration in a nutshell. It's basically just substitution. Please do click the link to practice some similar questions. Keep improving. The links are there for you to do that with. Ultimately, one day I could build up a huge resource of those, but at the moment I'm just slowly plodding through it. It's going to take a while, but we will get there. So hopefully, if you're watching this in the future and you're working your way through all my videos and you're finding them useful, then you'll be at a really, really good standard of maths by the time you've watched them all and practiced all of the skills. All right. So thank you once again. Thanks for all the support that everyone's given me recently. I will continue to make these and I'll do my best with them. All right. Take care. Look after each other. Thank you very much.